My name's Guy Kestivan. I've been a professional mountain bike and kit tester for over 25 years, and pretty much every one of those years I've done a roundup of the best kit of the year for the websites and the magazines I've been working at, but I've never done one on YouTube. So let's give it a go, and I'll talk about what I've really enjoyed using and really rated in 2022. So first off, this might not come as a surprise, the new stuff from PT's. Full disclosure, PT's actually contracted me basically working through. It started with their sealant. They knew I tested sealant for a whole load of magazines and websites, so they knew I was used to stabbing tyres and doing all the sluice tests, doing all the longevity tests, the field tests and everything. So they're like, well, if you want someone to test our stuff, it may as well be Kes. So this, I don't think it's a trade secret to say, I think this is blend 23.9 of their sealant. So we worked through a shit ton of different formulations. And to be fair, they're still working through some, but they've never got something quite as good as this one. So this is the one that's now in production. If you buy PT sealant now, this is what you will get. If it's the PT's Whole Shot Biofide Tubeless Tyre Sealant. And it's bloody good. I mean, everybody has their own preferences, and there's always an element of potluck with the sealant. But as far as I can tell, from a whole ton of testing and a lot of feedback from you guys who've taken me up on the recommendation on this works really damn well. Also, helped them develop this very simple but very effective idea. Basically, we took the side off the standard stabber, which makes it much easier to get your little rubber plug into, and it means it doesn't rip it out when you pull the plugger out of the tyre. So just makes it a lot easier to work with, and it's a nice little unit and comes in all the usual PT's 12 different anodized colours. And PT CO2 inflator, there's loads of different inflators on the market, but this one, because it's inline, it means if you put it up, it's interesting actually. We did a lot of testing on this. Again, put it in this way, controlled flow, because the gas is releasing first. So it kind of feels like a standard inflator would do. But because it's straight line, there's no corners, there's no valves or anything in it. It's just a press operation on it. It's actually got a really good clean flow. But dump it up that way around, and because basically the gas at the top forces the liquid carbon dioxide into the tyre, and then it expands from a liquid inside the tyre, you get crazy quick inflation rates with that. I mean, your full tyre, big tyre, up to 25, 30 PSI in a matter of seconds. So if you're in a real hurry, that's the way to blow your tyres back up fast. And again, 12 different colours, blah, 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 decent value, and just the operation of it, though. So, yeah, PT's. I helped them with it, but it's really good stuff in what's quite a crowded market. Other things, second thing I've got really into this year, special tyres. A lot of the new stuff, the sort of T9, T7 compounds actually came out towards the end of last year. And initial impression, I mean, we had a first ride on them at Glen Tress on the new Stump Jumper Evo, and actually had a couple of sketchy moments on them, but since then, that seems like we just got unlucky, because they've got a brilliant range of tyres now, from the dirty, great, muddy Hillbilly here, the Cannibal DH tyre, through to super light downcountry XC tyres like the Fast Trax X-Works, which sub 600 grams, this tyre. My favourite gravel tyre, as it goes, and obviously it's a very good cross-country tyre as well. But the big difference with Specialized tyres came back in the spring when Specialized UK suddenly went, do you know what, we're going to cut all the prices of our tyres. So Specialized always used to be superb value tyres, and then weirdly they kind of got shit at the same time as the prices went up. But now they've made the tyres good again, and prices have gone down, so it's a double win. Specialised tyres throughout the range for off-road use. The gravel tyres are dead good as well, and a proper bargain as well. Cannot recommend them highly enough if, money's tight at the moment. So get yourself some good performance at a cracking price. Oh, I knew there was going to be one product that I didn't get out ready in time. But luckily, because it's become such a stalwart, I knew exactly where it was going to be in my ride pack. So, toe peak, two-stage digital pump. Basically, it's a shock pump and a tyre pump all in one. Does that because it's got this cunning little Schrader or Presta head on it there. You've got digital display on it there, and then at the arse end, you've got a two-stage high or low pressure setting there. Again, this is a item that I haven't done a proper review on. If I've done a written review for for Bike Perfect, I'll put a link in at the end, or I'll clip it into the film here. But yeah, great pump this. Yes, it's expensive, nearly 100 quid, and quite bulky, but it saves you carrying two separate pumps and forgetting either of them or both of them. So this is, like you see, it's gone straight into my riding pack as my go-to tyre and suspension pump. Oh, apologies for the coughing. I've had a terrible virus, which is why I'm rushing this through at the last minute. But next up is, fancy fleeces. Bear with me on this one. Basically, if you've followed stuff I've written, I've never been really into waterproofs. I don't think they can ever cope with the amount of sweat and heat you create with mountain biking, if you're mountain biking at a decent high intensity anyway. So I've always liked soft shells, but there's been a real change this year in terms of more and more high-tech fleeces coming out, whether it's Seven Mesh's own fabric, which they've developed. I've been wearing this, again, it's not something I've done a proper review on yet, but I've been wearing this Teletubby hoodie pretty much non-stop since it came out, on and off the bike. And it's absolutely spot on. Very light, very packable, but remarkably warm for its weight. And actually shrugs off a decent amount of weather as well. And then if, for a bit more weather protection, go for something like Polartec Alpha. This is the Zero Cascade jacket, which is Alpha on the front, and then fully wind shell on the back. So it vents really, really well. That's the matching vest. And then Specialized do a full Polartec Alpha jacket as well. Again, pricey, but the performance, the amount of warmth you get for the weight, and just its ability to wick and keep you dry, keep you comfortable, and dry super, super quick afterwards. And it all kind of comes from, it's quite funny really, because it's a direct hark back to, God, this is dating me. Remember the old Buffalo Pertex pile jackets, which is just a very, very crude, sort of larger scale version of this. But they had a massive zip down the side for venting, and then they had a crotch strap that came round as well. So I can see why they died out from a fashion point of view. But if you want a real bargain with this kind of performance, with a shell weather protection on the outside and then this super insulated pile on the inside, just get yourself on an army stall and you can still pick up Buffalo Pertex for about 30 or 40 quid. What next? Oh yeah, our pals over in Lancashire, Hope. I kind of wondered why they were bothering with pedals, to be honest. And if you've got Shimano pedals or you've got some favourite pedals and you can't be asked to change the cleats, then do not worry about what I'm going to say. But if you want a pedal, certainly on the Clipper side, I can't talk to flat pedals. I don't ride them enough. But these are the Union TR Trail, and these are the Union RC sort of XC pedals. These get a titanium axle and obviously a small cage. They get a bit more of a platform and a standard axle. These have been utterly bomb-proof, super consistent release and engagement. The cleats last for ages. You get 2 pairs of cleats in the packages, and the bearings are so smooth on these. Pretty stiff. I think I'll be dead before I actually get these bearings loose or even free them up massively. But these have been super consistent and super reliable, to the point where if I'm testing alone now, I will only be using these Hope pedals. Hope have been kind enough to give me 4 sets of pedals and a bunch of cleats so I can swap all my shoes over. They weren't kind enough to actually sponsor the channel. I did ask them. but I didn't get a reply on that one. But nevertheless, I will still be going forward using Hope pedals when I'm not doing the switcheroo with other riders, because I can't expect, I'll still be using Shimano for that. And if you want the cheapest, best value throwaway pedals, then Shimano M20 or whatever the semi-platform equivalent is, 535, are just brilliant for the money. But if you want something a bit classier that really, really lasts and is really, really good, consistent and clean to use, then the new Hope pedals. Let's not throw them, that'll make a mess. Then we get new Hope brakes. I've got the XC brakes on my chisel, but the ones that are making the big fuss over are the new Hope Tech 4 E4 brakes, or the Tech 4 V4. I've used both, and yeah, I mean, you can see, got them here on the pace. They're brilliant. Very, similar kind of agricultural look with those external adjusters on them. But, still all made, apart from the hose and the pads, still all made in house in Barwick, over in Lancashire, just over the border from here, about half an hour's drive away. But the amount, I mean, they've got a longer lever, still drill. I'll do a proper review on these. All you need to know is all that brilliant Hope reliability, but with far more power, so you're not getting horrible arm pump, and a really, really nice modulation. And I've not ridden them in the Alps or anywhere like that, but people I know who have, like Mick Kirkman, who tests for MBR and does a lot of photo work with me, have said they are absolutely consistent however hard you use them. So great to see the Lancashire lads back on the scene with proper cutting-edge performance. I think pretty much everyone who's reviewed those brakes has given them a superb review. And they're back in the game for the right reasons, not just because they've got, obviously the fact they've got great factory support and great event support is a great reason to go with Hope as well, but it's not just putting a pretty colour on your bike. There's proper performance in those brakes now. What comes next? Glowworm lights from New Zealand. I've always used these. I do a ton of night riding, probably more than is healthy. It's just a way of, Thursday night rides is something of a stalwart for me. But just so a reliable set of lights is just brilliant. And they come with a really broad range of modular kits. So you get loads of different fixtures and fittings. You get the triple LED XSV, or excessive, as you might want to call it, or the double XS, which is what I use on my helmet as well. You get remote controls with them. The big difference for this year, well, start of last year. No, middle of last year, but they've kind of proved themselves over last winter and this winter, is that you now get, I don't know if you can probably want me to see it there, but there's now an OLED screen across the battery, which gives you all your runtime and, mode information. And then, like I say, you can control them through a remote control on the bars, and you can configure them through all sorts of different modes in a control app as well. So, while, cheaper, more easily accessible lights, while cheaper and more affordable lights are getting smarter and more reliable all the time for people like Magic Shine, I reckon, and, not everybody wants a separate bar and battery. If you don't want that, have a look at the exposure range, which I've always had good results with. Then my personal pick at the moment for lights is the Glowworm kit. What are we on to next? Rock Shock's Super Deluxe Shock again. It's on the pace over there, but it's filthy. It's under a load of muck on there. Ridden it on loads of bikes. Obviously did my initial testing on the pace here, my long-term of the RC295, but ridden it on several other bikes since, including Treks, including the Santa Cruz Hightower. And incidentally, there will be a bike version of this where I talk about my favourite bikes of the year, so stay tuned for that. But it's next level, it really is. It's got that kind of proper premium, ultra-sophisticated shock feel, but with a very accessible ride in terms of fit and forget tuning. You don't have to know exactly what's going on with your bike. It'll do a good baseline tune with minimum input. But also, I love the way they've kind of switched away around how the low-speed compression works. So it now works deeper in the travel, so it's more about support than it is about initial sensitivity. So you still get that excellent initial sensitivity throughout, but you can really change the way the bike feels in terms of ride height, the way it responds in corners and things like that. And it's super plush, super controlled, really, really easy to tune around on, but you don't need to be an absolute suspension savant to get the best from it. So yeah, RockShox Super Deluxe Ultimate Piggyback Shock, and I've been told the coil shock is equally as good, and they still cost a lot less than Fox. So, winning all the way there. God, did I just do that? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm getting carried away like a market trader here. Other things, I'm trying to do this in rough price order if you hadn't realised. Hunt Proven XC Carbon race wheels, or those Race XC Carbon. Those words in an order describing a 1500 gram wheel set with a 30mm wide rim on it that's been very, very carefully and exhaustively and extensively tested to give a good compromise of ride, durability, and responsiveness. And they work great. And if you're looking to lose some weight off your bike with a lifetime warranted wheel for under £1,000, I would so far thoroughly recommend these. I've hammered them, Gabe's hammered them, and we've really enjoyed riding them. There is a full review of those, so I will link that, and they can go up there for the time being. Which leads me on to the most expensive thing I'm going to talk about here, and that is the new Fox stuff. So Fox 36 here, but the fork I've probably been most impressed with, as great as that 36 is, I'm not really a rider who necessarily needs a 36. Obviously, the bigger bikes I use, then 36 is great, 150mm travel upwards. But the real difference for me this year has been the Fox 34. It's a fork I've never really got on with before. It's been too flimsy, too twangy. The damping's always been a bit off, and I just couldn't see the point in it. This year, Fox 34 in factory or in Performance Elite, absolutely outstanding fork. And if you haven't got quite that much cash, then basically the Mizuki Z2 lets you get a very similar performance, it's very, very similar chassis to the Fox 34 Rhythm, which is a fork that's never been available aftermarket, but I've always raved about on complete bikes. I mean, there's slight differences. You get an M-shaped brace on it, but really great fit and forget affordable performance fork in the Mizuki. Or if you've got the money, then to be fair, I'd only go up to Performance Elite because you get all the same damper and same chassis advantages of the factory, just without the gold bit on top, for about 100 quid less. Just make sure that you go for the Grip 2 damper, unless you're particularly keen to get a very kind of nutty, clinical feeling cross-country fork, in which case you by all means go for the Fit 4. But with Grip 2, it's just so nice after years of having to run compression damping pretty much fully wide open, and Fox forks still feeling like they're punishing you and you're not really a good enough, rowdy enough, hard enough rider to even bother with being anywhere in the readjustment range. It's so nice to be able to make some meaningful mid-range damping adjustments on them. And they're just a lot more forgiving and friendly than they ever have been before, which kind of flips the picture completely on RockShox, who've gone the other way with the latest generation forks. But anyway, I think that's 10. Yeah, I've got a blackboard over there to try and keep me on track. Sorry for rambling. Hope you've enjoyed this somewhat frenetic run through of the various things that have been my favourites for 2022. If you've liked this, then give me a wave and say, yes, we'd like to know what you thought of the bikes of 2022. I might even do a general things I've liked in 2022, if there's some interest in that and I get the time. But I've got a whole load of other testing to catch up on, and for all the people who keep asking, am I testing a Santa Cruz Tallboy? Yes, it's literally there. It's literally just behind the camera, and I'm pitching against a load of other similar bikes in the category, so all that footage will be up shortly. But for now, thank you very much to Zero Cycling UK, to PTs, and to Crud for sponsoring the channel. In case you haven't gathered from that sign coming up there, there's some exciting news coming from Talk Nutrition as well in the new year, which starts tomorrow. So that's another scheme I'll be able to talk to you about. And obviously, massive thanks to my Patreon supporters who pledge a small amount on a monthly basis, and they make a massive difference to me being able to put some time aside from all my writing and regular reviewing work to come to the workshop or get out into the trail and talk to you about products. But for now, I've been Guy Kesterman on Guy Kest TV, talking about my favourite kit of 2022. So whether you agree with what I've said or you don't, please get busy in the comments below. I like nothing more than a lively conversation after my videos. And I'll be back in 2023 with a whole load more testing and review videos and features about a whole bunch of other fresh kit, as well as some of the stuff that I'm surrounded with in here that I haven't quite got in front of the camera to film yet. But hope you've enjoyed this one, and thanks very much for watching in 2022.